Hello, UK Crime Book Club. We are spending our Friday night with the lovely guy Hale. You're going to tell us about Jimmy Wayne Book 3, All the World's a Stage. Congratulations, yesterday was publication day.
It certainly was. It escaped, and it's now in the public domain, and I'm sure the police are trying to catch it.
I'm sure somebody is. So go on, show off the cover. I mean, I've got it here. And tell us a little bit about...
Another one of my very restrained cover. Hang on, let's get it the right way. Here we go. Another.
Do you not remember? We have to do the in front of your face, then to the side of your face.
Okay, because this is going the opposite way. There you go. You have to take that because it goes the opposite way to the way you're looking. It's a big cover, and I've got a huge head, so that's as much as you're going to get. So. There you go.
Well, tell us a little bit about it. And Sarah's already saying hello. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Sarah. How are you? Well, it's the third novel in the Jimmy Wayne trilogy. So just to recap, Killing Me Softly was where he started to discover that when he killed somebody, he wrote a great song. So the first book's quite murdery. The second book, Blood on the Tracks, is where he goes to make the record in LA. So there's a lot of hijinks in LA, and we meet Ma Lanton for the first time, the mother of Jack Lanton, the septuagenarian, serial killing, sex maniac, 70-year-old, obviously septuagenarian. Quite a nice character, morally bankrupt, but extremely amusing to write. And she is really the devil incarnate in high heels. And we meet John Ardeel, who interesting black musician. He looks probably in his 40s. He's actually 67, but his real age from the time he was born during the American Civil War should be 3 times that. But after an accident in the Civil War, he ages at a third of the rate of a normal human. So people have asked me, is he an angel? What is he? And he's just a bloke that's aging slowly, and he just seems to know everything about everything and be in the right place at the right time. So he's a nice like narrator character who's drifting through. So Jimmy makes the record in book 2. He becomes a huge star, and then in All the World's a Stage, a reference to my beloved Shakespeare, he goes off on a world tour. And obviously in Europe, everybody, all the gangsters in Europe know that Jack Lanton and Ma Lanton own half the label that he's on. So they assume that the tour is being used as a front to move into some of the drugs trade and other businesses in Europe. Unbeknownst to Jimmy, it is. They're smuggling stolen Nazi artwork in the guitar and the bass cases back into Europe. And so they get the equivalent of the Cray twins, which are the Tench twins, after them from England. They get Luigi Messalama, who is head of the Italian gangs based in Brindisi. And they get Pierre Soubriquet, who is the art dealer from Paris, who's highly corrupt and runs another big gang. And then we get the Spanish gangs as well. And Don Hector, who is hoping to be the next Julio Iglesias, as well as a huge drug dealer. So all these forces coalesce in Europe, and much murdering occurs. And merriment.
And poor Jimmy's got no clue.
It's all going on in the background.
Just wants to sing.
And he sings very well, and the tour is a huge success. But obviously Wendy's still there, and for those of you that know Wendy, it's the girlfriend he accidentally killed during autoerotic sex while drunk on the first page of the first novel, who came back to haunt him in a good way, and is still there giving career advice 3 books later. And she takes him to meet his hero, Jim Morrison from The Doors, who is buried at Père Lachaise.
You're going to give up all of my questions in the first 5 minutes, you are.
Okay, I'm going to shut up now. You did ask me how we got to where we are. So there's a little prequel. Ask away.
We will come to the cemetery scene shortly because it is really funny. And I have to try not to sing because you'll all see when we get there. You don't want me to sing. Everyone will
I
switch
believe
off.
I'm in the countryside on the Welsh borders, so there are rats in the neighbourhood, so they'll hear
I'm going to
you and
say, so
throw
you need
themselves on the
Scarecrow
traps.
to be singing.
Well, no, they'll just hear your voice and throw themselves on the traps, naturally. So.
You have no idea how close that is to the truth.
I do think I heard you sing once, Sam. Yeah, drink had been involved. Yeah.
No, I only sing in the shower. Moving swiftly on. Sarah's asking, she said, good, thanks, how are you both? So I'm good. I am absolutely terrified, Sarah, of what he's going to come out with.
Well,
We've
Sarah
already had the
knows
erotic
that
asphyxiation scene.
Sarah knows that I'm a complete gentleman and never say anything at all challenging. So.
And if you believe that, you will believe anything.
Hello,
although
Donna.
You are a gentleman.
Oh, Donna's here.
I know, give me a chance.
Sorry, go on, doing your job.
So we're not down to Donna yet. Hello, lovely Donna. We're looking at Natalie Rampling's comments. So Natalie's on the blog tour for book 3, as she has been for the first
Natalie.
2. And she said the series is brilliant. Highly recommend. It is hilarious and shocking, and you are the most ridiculous person. I absolutely love these books.
Well, I had to take that.
It's a compliment.
Oh, okay, I'll take
it's a compliment. Yeah.
My wife says similar. You're a ridiculous person.
Yeah, that's not a compliment.
No, is it not? Oh, right. Okay.
No. Slight little difference between me saying it and Lou saying it.
Fair enough.
So Donna said hello, looking forward to this, and I have hi both, looking forward to this, and book 3. That's Laura. Hello, Laura, who loved the first 2 books as well.
If I could just address a comment to Donna. Donna, I'm reading your book and I'm enjoying it. Full critique will be available after the weekend, but so far so good.
Nice. And Donna said, I can't believe you said that with a straight face, Guy.
What, just?
I don't know. Is that the auto asphyxiation, erotic asphyxiation? I can't even say it.
When we talk about autoerotic asphyxiation, I mean, Donna knows all about that, so she knows I can do it with a straight face. God blimey. She works in Greggs.
Moving on. Let's talk about the fact that you are giving books away tonight for the best questions. That does not mean the questions that embarrass me the most when I read them out. So all behave yourselves. You have been warned. Don't you nod?
Me.
So you are going to give away. You've got 2 copies of All the World's a Stage, and they're worldwide. So anyone who wants to enter for those, you will sign it. Donna told you that in private. And for UK only, we have a full trilogy. Yep. So Killing Me Softly, Blood on the Tracks, and All the World's a Stage. Do you like the showmanship? I know where
I have to say that was so professional. I'm in awe. So.
We might as well talk about the cemetery scene. We can't not. I just had me howling.
Well, I just had this image in my head because Oscar Wilde, very funny man. And I thought, well, if you know Père Lachaise cemetery in Paris, a lot of famous people buried there. And on the way down to Jim Morrison's grave, you can walk past Oscar Wilde's grave. And I thought those two, because Jim was a bit of a poet as well, and Oscar was a very literate man, and he wrote poetry. And then just round the corner is the little Parisian songstress, Edith Piaf.
You've missed a bit. Why are they in the graveyard in the first place?
Because they're dead.
No, not.
Oh, why?
Jimmy and Wendy. No. Jimmy and Wendy.
Wendy, being deceased, is familiar with dead people and dead places, and she knows that one of Jimmy's heroes was Jim Morrison from The Doors. So as a little treat, she's organised with Jim for Jimmy to go and visit him in Père Lachaise and commune with his dead hero. Highly likely, it could happen any time. And it could in my book anyway. And so he goes to meet his hero, and obviously they want to take Oscar. They're going to have a night out on the dead town, because obviously as part of the world, we have the living and the dead world, and it mirrors. Some people can see into the dead world if you believe that stuff, some people can't. but for the sake of fiction, I'm going to assume it's real. And so they go on there, but they've got to keep the voices down because Edith Piaf is a bit bored being dead. And though she sang a song called No Regrets, Je ne regrette rien, she regrets everything, and she's a bit of a whinger. And so if you wake her up from the grave, you just can't do a thing because she's saying, no, regret. She's giving it all that all night, and it's just a nightmare. So they're trying to creep out with Oscar, and Oscar obviously is a loudspeaker because he was in love with himself. And they wake up Edith. So in the end, it's just the three of them. They leave those two in the graveyard and go for a night out on the town in Paris. And Jim passes a complete album's worth of songs to Jimmy by saying, I've wrote this album. I would love for you to make this record in, because these songs I've been writing since I've been dead are the best things I've ever done. But I obviously have no means of bringing them to the public. So obviously for Jimmy, this is a dream come true. And obviously when he wakes up in the morning, all those songs will be there because he'll have written them because he's going to get sent them in his sleep the way they're normally done after murders. But now he doesn't have to murder anybody for the next album. So Jimmy's got a lot less killy now. He's not very murdery at all anymore. But yeah, so it's a lovely way for Mike and I to be able to make another album for the second series in the style of The Doors, which is what we're going to do in my studio in October. So.
Love that. I have been listening to Mike Zito today, and John, whose name I wrote down, John Blues Boyd. I knew I'd forget. Even though I've been sat listening all afternoon while I've been doing other things, I knew I would forget and call him John Ardeal.
Yeah. Well,
so
John
I literally
Blues
wrote it down.
Is now the blues artist who a lot of you won't be familiar with. He's very well known in the States. He's a cult figure in the States in the blues scene. And I helped to launch his career because he told me all these stories about his life. And I just said, we've got to write this. So it's been 3 years ago now. I sat down. I was in San Jose. And we sat down and I wrote 7 songs while I was there. And then we started recording them in the studio. I designed the cover. And anyway, we made the album and it got John to a nomination for a blues award in Memphis at the age of 76. And it went number 2 in the blues charts in Europe and in America. So I'm very proud of that. But John is known as John the Real Deal Blues Boyd. So John Ardeal is a very clear homage to the real John.
And what a gorgeous voice he's got.
Fantastic, isn't it? It's a great record, isn't it?
Yeah, really
proud
is.
of that record. So I got a nomination for Song of the Year as well on that one. So
congratulations.
Yeah, so that was great.
Donna's saying she doesn't know how I keep my face straight. Lots of practice. Oh no, it's Leslie. Sorry, Leslie. Lots of practice.
Hello, Leslie. I'm being very normal at the moment, Leslie. So I don't know what you mean, face straight.
You really are.
I am. I'm on best behaviour.
This is quite tame.
I'm very good behaviour.
You're not actually speaking from your office this time either.
No, I'm at Friends at the moment on the Welsh borders. We're here for a meal. We've had the starter, sitting outside, the gazpacho. Got a glass of fizz. Because it's always nice to drink and broadcast.
Hotter than me. Cheers.
Yeah, it's always nice to drink and broadcast, I find. And then after this is over, we're off for the second and the dessert. And maybe more fizz. Right.
See, now we all want to know. So you had gazpacho for your starter. What's your main?
I have no clue. Do you want me to ask?
No. Not right now, no. Update me tomorrow.
Knowing our friends, it'll be something very healthy, but very tasty. So
the best things are.
Could be some corn-fed chicken or some smoked salmon or something. I don't know. It'll be lovely though. They're great cooks. So
Donna said, "Not just a pretty face, are you, Guy?"
Not even Donna.
I think this is Sarah. Let me have a quick look. It is. Do you keep a notebook by your bed for in the middle of the night ideas? How do you keep track of your characters' descriptions and locations? Where do you get your ideas from? We haven't touched on where the idea for Jimmy Wayne came from yet. I know we have talked about this previously, but for anyone who missed it.
Right. For those who missed it or just aren't bothered, which will be most of you. Jimmy Wayne came out of a Mike and I were, and this sounds very music glam, but it wasn't. We were sitting in a bar in LA in January of 2020, just before COVID struck. We'd made an album in California, and we were just off to sign an artist in Denver and then go and make another album in Memphis. And we were out for dinner that night, and Mike was telling me, because Mike's a big star now, but go back 10 years, he was playing in a third-rate casino in a little town in North Nevada, in a place just like the Riviera, in a place just like Blackjack. And he said the little stage we used to play on was between the strippers and the one-armed bandits, and nobody ever listened to a song I sang. And one night I dreamt that I killed somebody, and when I woke up in the morning, there was the best song I'd ever seen. I wondered if they were correlate. There was a correlation between the two, and I just sat there and said, "That's a novel. In fact, it's a trilogy." And I could just literally, I just saw the whole thing, 6 books worth, just like that. And I said, "Mike, you got to write this." He said, "I can't write. I'm a songwriter, but I can't write a novel." So I said, "I'm going to write this." He said, "Great, write it, but we'll make the soundtrack together so it's Netflix ready." And so we, and literally, I went back to my room that night and I wrote the outline for the first 2 trilogies. I just saw it straight away. It was like some kind of weird drug-induced thing. I just saw it all. But you're talking to a man who's got 16 novels outlined, ready to go. So,
well, I learned that you have always had this as your plan. We've talked about this, that you always wanted to do this.
Yeah.
But you had to go and get a proper job first, and make sure that you could afford to retire. And
well, I was writing when I was
live your
younger,
dream.
and then in my mid-30s, I had a little theatre group with a mate called Andy Higgett. We used to write all our own plays, and it was a bit like the National Theatre of Brent with Desmond Olivier Dingle. And we wrote The Witchfinder General, cast of 2, Charge of the Light Brigade with a cast of 3, and the third member was somebody who would pick out the audience, give them a horrible, dirty old cardigan, and they would become Lord Cardigan. And then we'd have half of the pub theatre, it's always pub theatre, half of them would be the Russians, and the other half would be the Light Brigade. We destroyed a lot of pubs that way, but it's great theatre. And
I'm surprised anywhere lets you back in.
Oh no, we used to fill the place at the pub. They used to love us. And we did the Siege of Troy with a cast of 2, and I was the traffic warden outside Troy saying,
Siege of Troy with a cast of 2?
Yeah. And I was the traffic warden outside Troy saying, "Here, mate, you can't park your horse there." It was very alternative, but used to, and we did really well with that. But I kind of realised that I really need to make a career for myself. We wanted to have a child, just the one. And, you've got to do all that stuff. So I went into industry. I'd been a golf pro as well. I used to be a golf pro in the day. And
we should have brought the photo of you with the hair.
Yeah, well, I've got it on my phone if you want me to show you. And,
yes, please.
Do you think our viewers are ready for this?
It's like I've stolen your hair.
Yeah, it is actually like you've stolen my hair. And, well as my soul, basically, isn't it? So let me have a look.
As well as your soul.
Stole my
it's a bit soul. Deep for a Friday night.
Yeah, stole.
Donna's screaming, yes.
The stealer of souls. This isn't making very good podcast. Me scrolling through my phone, is it? So,
I'm just thinking I should have that on a t-shirt. Stealer of souls. I like that.
Stealer of souls. Yeah, I think Dave, your husband's called Dave, isn't he? I think he'd agree with that, wouldn't he? Stealer of souls. Okay. Anyway, I'll discreetly scan through and just keep my eye on it because I don't know how to find it quickly because I'm such a
right. Well, while you're scrolling through your phone, who would you have play Jimmy if Netflix or other company did pick it up?
Well, funnily enough, and this is like Fight Club, you can't tell anybody else, but it has been sent to a certain actor's agent, and I'll tell you if the actor, one of the actor's catchphrases, all right. Does that give you a clue?
No.
Okay, Matthew McConaughey. Yeah. So.
Oh, as soon as you said it, yeah, of course I know that.
Okay, viewers, are you ready?
So Matthew as Jimmy.
I see Matthew. Oh, where have you gone? There you go. I see him as Jimmy. So here we go. There you go, folks. Fill your boots with that one.
That isn't even the picture I was thinking of. There is one where you have got the hair that I've got.
There you go. Sorry about that, viewers. There you go. I need a drink after showing that photo. So.
It's a shame you're almost running out. Have you not got another one? Have you not got several lined up?
The butler will bring it up, don't worry.
Oh, my word. Poor Dave. Not my Dave, your Dave.
Yeah.
Sarah's asked, which career did you love the best? Now, talk us through your varied history.
I'll talk you through the bits I can talk about.
Fine.
I started out as a professional golfer and was nearly on the European tour.
Did you go with that picture on your website in the end of you golfing?
No, the gentleman who I believe you know, who did my website, he thought the public probably weren't ready for those flared trousers in that colour, so we didn't go with that one. But
I reckon you said that. That doesn't sound like something he'd say.
No, I gave him the photo and I said, you choose which you think is best. And he said, on grounds of public decency, we're not going to allow that one out into the public domain because there might be counselling involved. So we just moved away from it. So
was this you in the pink onesie sort of thing?
It wasn't a pink
with
one.
The hair.
It was a very attractive groin-hugging pair of flares with a pink jumper and then a T-shirt which had cuffs and collars which matched the three-colour cerise, purple, and it does sound bad when you say it like that, doesn't it? And pink diamond-shaped trousers or diamond pattern trousers. Yes, very. It was.
See, now I'm not keeping my face straight.
It was the 70s, and it was golf. What do you expect? You
know. Not that.
Yeah, and then after that, I went into scientific education equipment. Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't expect that deep turn, did you?
No.
And then I did that for a few years and got a bit boring, so I stopped that. And then I went into, I worked for a company called Grosvenor Surgical, and we did surgical instruments. So I had to go in and see post-mortems to learn how all the instruments were used, and that was quite interesting. Lovely working with dead people, because
they're not as cheeky as me.
Well, they seemed to like me. That was always nice. Never interrupted. Perfect. Yeah, but that was interesting, and it's been useful knowing how dead people behave when they're dead. For crime.
So you're talking actual real post-mortems?
Yeah, because we dealt with, one of the things I used to sell was stuff by a company called Swan Morton, and that was used in pathology as well as operations. So I had to go and watch autopsies as well as operations to learn how all the stuff worked, and that was really interesting. And obviously some of that knowledge has stood me in good stead for crime writing.
So finally we have a reason for it.
What, for the crime writing?
For some of the deepest scenes.
Yeah, but I mean, my crime writing is basically, I'm trying to tell a story, but humour is as important to me as the gore. I don't do gore for the sake of gore. It's a byproduct, and it's not that gory because you're still laughing, hopefully, while as the fingers are coming off, you're having a chuckle, which is always a nice way to do it.
There's some audience members having a chuckle as well. Donna can never unsee that.
Good.
Laura has commented, I can't see whose comments are what here. Somebody said very fetching. Donna said, I can never unsee that. Somebody said, shame this isn't live with everyone seen on camera as we are laughing out loud. Donna said, oh, wow. Yeah, Sarah crying.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is with Donna, she knows I know where she lives, so she's been very circumspect and nice.
No, she's not.
No, she never is. That's why we love her.
The scariest things you do see characters in your books. The rest of us are safe.
Yeah, you believe that if you want to. They're autobiographical.
What about any of the buildings that you've worked on?
Yeah, well,
Would you
moving
consider
on.
setting them?
Then when Lou and I, my beautiful wife Lou, got together,
Yeah.
I went back to teaching golf then at a very posh golf club in Stratford, which was owned by the Japanese at the time. So I tried to learn a bit of Japanese, and that went badly, but I did quite well. And
Sorry, Laura said pass the brain bleach and I'm creasing up.
yeah,
Sorry, compose myself while
Donald
you
Trump
continue.
supplies brain breach, doesn't he? That's his speciality, bleaching to the body.
Moving on, no politics.
No,
you have been
it wasn't
warned,
politics. It
young
was an
man.
observation. Anyway, so yeah, so I then went back to being a golfer, and that went well. But then I thought it was wonderful because I used to teach all through the summer, make a wedge of cash, and then bugger off surfing abroad for about 3 months of the year. I was a surf
Well,
bum.
you had the hair for it.
I did then, yeah. I used to have little beads in it and everything, and I was all bleachy. And yeah, I used to go to things like, hey, man. I did all that kind of rubbish, you know.
You did not.
I was a full-on surf bum, yeah. But then I'd come back to the 5-star golf club and say, oh, hello there, how are you? You're well. So it was a bit of I was playing a part, really. But then the Americans sold the hotel, and it went back to being more of a traditional members golf club attached to the hotel. So in other words, there weren't big bucks I could ease out of the teaching, so I wasn't really interested. So I had to get a proper job. And I went into construction working for one company. I soon became the sales director there. And I saw an opportunity to go into the more heavy duty side, work on high rise buildings and everything. I started the company up, and I thought, if I can make this work, by the time I'm 60, I want to sell it and then have enough money never to work again, and then go back to my first love, which is writing. And that's about how it worked out. I sold it at 61. And since then, I started a music label within 2 weeks in Texas. I started another one over here, became a songwriter, and then started writing books. So I'm on my 4th one now. So, yeah.
So your retirement was have more businesses?
My retirement was do the stuff I want to do. Because I don't need any money, which is great if you're a writer, because you ain't going to make any unless you get really lucky. And make music.
Sad but true, it seems.
Yeah, I mean, there's too much pressure on writers if they're trying to make money from it. I think you've got to write the best book you can and enjoy what you do. Be in touch with what your fans, when you're lucky enough to get someone's. And then if it's going to take off, that's the luck of the draw. It may or it may not. But as long as you're enjoying what you do and the people that read your books enjoy it, that's enough for me. But I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. I'm enjoying it. The books are selling well, and they could always sell a lot better, but they are selling okay. I'm in a lot of bookshops. I'm in Waterstones. We're just on the verge of hopefully getting into WH Smith's airports and stations, which would be big.
What about America?
Oh, well, America. Funny you should ask that. Because of my music label.
This question we prepared earlier?
Yeah, here's one we prepared earlier, and here's you slipped it seamlessly into the conversation before I went and ruined it. But yeah, we made the album, and obviously Mike's a big star. Mike Zito's a big star in America, and Kid Anderson, who helped master the record and did some work on it, is also a big star in America. I'm very well known in the blues industry as the owner of Gulf Coast Records, and having written a lot of songs for a lot of decent sized artists over there. So we're launching the record over there in July on the 28th. And off the back of the record, we're just promoting the trilogy with the record. So that's going to be a real big push over there. I've got to go over and do about 30 radio interviews because the blues is big over there. And I'm trying to encourage all the blues community to start reading books. So hopefully I won't be competing with too many other crime writers. In fact, none. To the audience I'm pushing it to. But it's sold very well in the States already without really any promotion. It's sold a couple of thousand books. And Mike's going to take the books on tour with him in his band, the Blood Brothers, with Albert Castiglia, who are a fantastic band and doing really well. So yeah,
been listening to them today.
As a byproduct of going out to that crowd, I'm hoping it's really going to help the books get to a much bigger audience in the States. and I'll spend a bit of time over there promoting it. So you'll have a peace and quiet for about 3 weeks while I'm over there. So.
But would you consider using any of the buildings that you've worked on as the basis for that's where some of the bodies are? You know, kind of the whole people put them under motorway bridges in real life, but I'm
at the
talking
moment,
fictional.
Yeah, I'm writing about America. I've never built buildings in America. It's always been Dubai, Oman, Saudi Arabia, London, all over the UK. But I'm writing a new series which is based in 1972 in Stratford-on-Avon, and it's a serial killer who's killing all the actors at the theatre, and it's based around it's a trilogy based around 3 of Shakespeare's best known plays. So again, I didn't build any buildings then because I was too young. I was still at school. Shut your face. And yeah, so, but I am going back to work because my old business partner in the business we sold a few years ago, he's 15 years younger than me, and he's greedy, so he started again. And he's asked me if I'll go back and do a bit of work because I know all the big players in London. So I said, yeah, I'll go back, do 1 day a week, because there is a great series to be written about the 1970s property development scene in London, because there was so much corruption, there was a lot of crime, and there was some serious dodgy dealings going down. And in the late 60s, obviously, the Crays were involved in property development then. So I think I'll go back there, talk to a lot of the old boys who I know in there, just get enough information to be able to write that trilogy as well at some stage.
Nice. I want to ask you what you've done so far to celebrate your launch of book 3.
Well,
obviously
I went, and you know about my favourite cafe in a little village next door, but 2 from us in Worcestershire.
I do, but let's tell everybody who's
so
watching.
There's a village called Bishampton, and I'm like the writer in residence there. I'm a cyclist, so I'm quite often rolling up there in Lycra, which is great for the locals. And hey, I look good in Lycra, babe.
I'm sure you do, Mr. Hale.
Shaved legs and everything. And I started writing outside in the summer on a table there. People said, oh, what you do? So I'm writing a book. And then Paul said, when the book was published, bring some in here, I'll sell them. And honestly, I think everybody in the village has bought a copy of the book. And I've sold more books through that little place in Bishampton than Waterstones have sold. So either Waterstones are rubbish or the bookshop. No, they've done really well. Sold 400 books through one little cafe.
Yeah.
So here's me with my business head. I'm thinking, well, cafes, people walk into little cafes, and especially in the villages, and they're having a coffee alone. They see a book there. There's no other books there. So I've got like 4 cafes in Worcestershire now selling my books. And I sell a lot of books that way. So, yeah, as well as all the bookshops as well.
So what did you do yesterday?
Right, so I went to my little cafe, and I took some books in because they wanted some. And while I was there, having a cup of tea and breakfast, I sold 21 and signed 21 books in about half an hour while I was just there having breakfast with a mate. I'm afraid my hash browns were a bit cold at the end of it, but you didn't mind that, did you? So, and then we're doing a bit of a launch party there on June the 10th with champagne and cake, which is always good. But really, I'm not going crazy. I mean, I went up to Crime Central in Manchester last night, and Rob Parker was kind enough to announce that actually it was Dave Beckler and myself both had new books out, so they announced that there, which was lovely. And it was Kate Vendelow.
We like David Beckler as well.
Yeah, Christy was there as well, and Anna Mazzola. So it was really, really nice night. We all ended up at Wetherspoons, which is lovely. And so yeah, it was great. And then tonight, I've had some nice reviews already today. So it's fairly low key because I've never, as you know, I've never really promoted them because I always think you need a trilogy out there so readers, because they read one book, and I mean I knock a book out every 6 or 7 months, but I think once you hit new readers, if you can hit them with 3 books so they can go bang bang bang, then you've established those characters in their psyche, and then if there's more to come, they'll be looking for them. So now becomes the big push. I've got lots of advertising. I've got my PR people in the music world who are coming into the game now. So yeah, I'm afraid you'll be sick of me in about 3 months because there's going to be lots of advertising on Facebook and on various forms of media. Because it doesn't matter how good your book is, if your people don't see it, and there's some great writers out there that don't get the backing from their publisher, and they just disappear without trace. And the books are fantastic, so you've got to promote it. It's as much work promoting a book as it is writing it these days. But I like talking to people.
Laura's just remembered these tick a box in the UK CBC bingo game, Supernatural Elements. So for anyone who doesn't know, this year Patricia Forsyth did the book bingo for the year. You can find it in the featured section, I believe, at the top of the group, and there is a supernatural element with one of the ticks. So you're trying to obviously get a full house.
Right.
So yeah, people can read your book as part of it. Somebody's asked if you have a CD for the third book. That was Sarah.
No, I've made a record that covers the first trilogy, and we're just about to make a record that will cover the second trilogy.
So you're doing that in October?
Yeah, and then we'll make that record available as the first book of the second trilogy comes out. So,
okay,
which should be about this time next year. I've got the first one in the Toby Marlowe series coming out in February, March, and then the fourth one in the Jimmy Wayne series coming out in about June, July of next year.
And how far into it, the Toby Marlowe book one, are you? Just remind us what you were saying earlier.
I've nearly finished the first draft. So, yeah, I've got to get on with it because my editor's an absolute nightmare. So if I don't get it done fairly quickly, I'm going to get stiletto heels on the back of the head and stuff like that. So.
Well, sounds like she could be a character in the book.
I'd kill her off, though, for sure.
So when we were talking about Jimmy Wayne earlier, and you said Matthew McConaughey, he's your dream actor?
I just think he could play it really, really well. So we spoke to somebody we know in the States who used to write for Seinfeld. Bit of a mic drop there. And he's actually taken it straight into Mr. McConaughey's agent. So we shall see. Chances of 1 in a million, but and it's already gone through the door at Netflix. So, but you could be an option in 2 or 3 years, and then nothing happens. All you can do is put it out there, try and get it through the door, and then wait for life's lottery to either kick you in the teeth or give you a diamond.
Fair enough. Would you fancy a walk-on part or playing one of the characters?
Well, I've done a bit of acting, and I think David, the manager of the hotel.
Oh yeah.
He is English, and I'm sure most of our listeners aren't old enough to remember Crossroads, the simple everyday tale of a Brummie motel. Well, it's based on David from Crossroads, very suave, sophisticated, which of course is me.
So you're going to be David. I like
that. To be honest with you, if you sell, I've sold soundtracks from blues artists to the movies, and you just take the money and run, because all I'd ask to be done is have an executive producer thing, because what they do is they'll take your book and say, take the first book, they want to turn a series out of that. They'll take a bit of it and say, okay, we need 2 new characters and we need them to do this to make that first episode work. So because it's my book, I'll invent the characters, and I'll invent this is what, not me personally, this is what it would be me personally if it happened. This is what's been happening in the past. So the associate producer, you write that, and then a team of writers go and finish it. But you just have a little bit of input to where it's going because you know the characters. But that's the dream ticket, because you get big fees for doing alterations, and it's basically all about the money, Sam, really, and a little bit of artistic control. But once you've sold it, you have no control. You just do what they want you to do.
And does that not bother you? Some people are really kind of fixed on wanting it, to stay true to their original
I
idea.
don't
Some
know
people
how to
really
make
aren't bothered.
I don't know how to make a TV series. So why would I try and tell them how to do it? I would just take the money and go and write another book and not get involved. So
Fair enough.
yeah, it's all about the money, really, isn't it? I have control over the books, complete control over the books, and that's all you can do. If somebody wants to invest millions turning it into a TV series, which they don't at the moment, but if they did, they can do what they like with it because they paid the money to do it. So you just you give them that and you walk away. Otherwise, you'll go crazy. So,
Fair enough. And we really haven't touched enough on the book yet. We have
yeah,
just been kind of gabbing away as we do, and we've really not gone into it. So there are lots of elements to this.
yes,
It's where to even begin. Now we know how the trilogy begins because you've already told us. You take great glee in sharing that scene anytime anytime you're talking about the book, and why not?
yeah,
Tell us a little bit about the song cemetery because it features in each book. Obviously, that is where the first 8 bodies are now.
yeah, yeah.
Tell
Well,
us a bit about
what about the second book?
just the song cemetery in general. I think is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, well, the song cemetery is where all the bodies of the people he killed are. There are 3 other bodies who aren't there. There's the sleazy, isn't there, because he was killed in an accident, but it was related to something that was caused by Jimmy. So this is the Jimmy and his killing by proxy phase. There is our lovely old lady who died laughing at one of Jimmy's jokes. And I forget who the other one was now. It's 3 books ago. But yeah, so, there's a lot of things going on in my head, Sam. And, I bring people in. Whenever I'm writing, I draw up a booklet of new characters as they arise. And so far in the series, I've got something like I think it's about 62 characters. So far, which is a lot of characters. I mean, a lot of them are dead now, but a lot of them aren't. So, yeah, it's hard to keep track of it. That's why I have to have a big whiteboard when I start each book. And there's a starting point. There's a finishing point. There's 2 or 3 places I'd like to visit. And then as it goes along, new voices and new situations occur. And I just start drawing this map out on the whiteboard. And then I have a character book. And every character that's in there, if something's changed or I write it in the character book. And yeah, just build up a backlog of stuff. And so you can always refer back to it on another book, So, but yeah, I don't want to really reveal too much. But in the 4th book, the bodies at the Song Cemetery may be discovered.
Now, you hinted a bit at this at the beginning of the 3rd book, All the World's a Stage, because Sheriff Pence gets himself a new pet.
A bloodhound, yes.
And where's he walking it or planning on walking it?
Well, he did, just near the Song Cemetery, yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to sow that idea in the 3rd book, so people start thinking about, he's got a lot of bodies buried. What if they were ever found? That he's now a world famous star. He's got a very dark secret. And if that ever comes out, so that's hanging over him like a sword of Damocles. And that sword may fall one day or not. So, yeah.
Do you actually know the answer to that? I know you've got kind of things planned out for quite a few in advance, but...
So, yeah,
smallest violin in the world.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for your.
I'll keep sipping my lager in a mug.
Thanks for your. How very northern. Yeah.
They'll not let you back in if you carry on.
Okay, you did offer me that one on a plate, there, didn't you? Yeah, I mean, I've got the 5th book is could be a courtroom drama, so draw your own conclusions from that. But I wanted to go on this romp across Europe with Jimmy because he's a world famous star now, and I wanted to make that clear. And obviously, going to all these places in Europe that I know, I thought it'd be lovely to have some fun there. So that's what we did. I just took him on a romp across Europe, and we just had loads of fun and killed a lot of people. It's great.
So you know a lot of the places in the books.
Every place that we highlighted, I've been to. Yeah, so I'm writing from a place of knowledge and love. I mean, Nîmes is one of my favourite towns in the world. For those that don't know Nîmes, it's in the south of France, and it is basically a Roman town. Perfect. It's better preserved than Rome. The amphitheatre is completely preserved, all the streets. I mean, it is a beautiful place. You've got Angers just around the corner, which is, again, is a Roman town. And then you've got Carcassonne, which is Roman. It's fantastic. Yeah, lovely part of the world. And some great places where you can set scenes and be very dramatic, and have a bit of fun. And Paris, obviously, with Père Lachaise and the back streets of Paris and the West Bank, it's just fantastic.
I do love it in Paris. I've not been to south of France.
Oh, you love it.
Yeah, I do love Paris.
Yeah.
Only ever been once. It was the most expensive 3 days of my entire life.
Yeah, it's not cheap,
I wouldn't change it. No. And that was, I mean, my kids are adults and almost adults now. And that was when the eldest was 4 or 5. I mean, we're talking a long time ago. So, yeah, that was lovely. Donna's asking about names. How do you choose your character names?
To be honest with you, I mean, if something makes me laugh, I use that. And some of it's based on people I know. I mean, like Pierre Soubriquet.
I was going to say Soubriquet is quite an unusual name.
Well, the joke is that his real name? Because a soubriquet is, a nickname for somebody, isn't it, in French? Messalama is Italian for living dead, basically. You look at
right, okay.
So there's lots of little hidden gags in there. But,
you do like your little hidden gags. So you like your Shakespeare references, all these different things.
Yeah.
There's a lot to... you can read it 4 or 5 times and pick up different things every time.
Yeah, there's a lot of different
you missed
things.
The first time round.
I just throw a lot of these things in there, and I don't explain them. They're just there, and if you pick it up, you pick it up. If you don't, you don't. But it amuses me, and the people that find them seem to be quite amused by them as well. So, yeah. There's a lot of speech there, which when people are just having normal conversations, there'll be bits of philosophy there, but I'm taking it completely out of context, which is going against type. But yeah, I just like throwing bits and pieces in there without it being obvious. You never want to lecture to people, and it's like an in joke. There's lots of in jokes in there, but I don't think they detract because they're not like clunky. You don't see them half the time unless you know them. But those that see them say, "Oh God, I really like that." So.
Donna said she can see you typing and laughing to yourself.
I do actually, yeah. When I'm doing the first draft, I don't laugh. It's usually coming back and seeing what I've written in because I never, ever get precious about the first draft. The first draft is about throwing all the ideas against the wall and seeing what sticks. See how I clean that up there. And
I do, yeah.
The first draft for All the World's a Stage was 145,000 words long.
Which is a hefty amount of words.
Yeah, and as I'm very green, I vote green. I couldn't sacrifice that many trees, so I pulled it back to 100,000 because I did a scene. There's a scene I did where they were inside an ex-nuclear power station on the banks of the Seine, 45 miles outside of Paris, and a gentleman whose stage name is Thrust Starbanger, and they were making a porn movie. It was part of
course they were.
Yeah, it was part of the Brindisi gang. They had one of their businesses in the porn industry, as a lot of gangsters are. And it was hilarious. If I say so myself, it was absolutely hilarious. But when I went back and read it, I thought, this doesn't actually move the story forward. It was just a lovely cul-de-sac I'd gone down. So I just chopped it, and that was like a 10,000 word scene, which made me roar with laughter.
10,000 words?
Yeah. The thing is, if I'm entertaining myself when I'm writing, I just go. I mean, some days if I'm in it, I write 3,500 words. Some days, if I'm having fun and I'm singing along, but it just didn't move the story forward. So I had to. That may be available as a short novella in the future. So
was going to say, it does sound like your editor would have put the stiletto through that one, but Donna's saying, did you save them for later or get rid of them completely? But clearly you've saved them.
I'm glad you asked that question, Donna, because I've just got a new website, www.guyhale.com. And for all those that wish to subscribe, there will be a regular newsletter and giveaways, but I am going to put some little novellas together, which anybody who's a subscriber can have to read, based on characters who don't get into the book or scenes that have been cut. So kind of a director's cut. So, and there will be a commentary available on some of them as well. We'll make a little film in the studio.
Just dropped the link to that as well, so people can have a look.
Thank you.
I want to touch on, we've got about 10 minutes left. I want to touch on one of my favourite characters, who is, I mean, we've already mentioned it tonight. You know exactly who I'm going to say. So, come on, where did Ma Lantern come from? Is she one of the ones that just appeared fully formed in your head?
Ma Lantern appeared fully formed in my head. I wanted somebody who was more terrible than any of the people in the book. Went to number 11.
Mission accomplished.
10, and I wanted her to be an old woman who didn't look like an old woman and who was terrifying and sexy at the same time. Because, as with Wendy, I do like strong women characters. And I just think it's wonderful when you've got a bunch of hard-nosed criminals, gangster types, who are all terrified of a 70-year-old woman. I think it's brilliant. And she is horrifyingly wonderful. And you can just go anywhere with Ma. And if this second trilogy takes off, Ma will have a prequel trilogy where we take Ma from a young woman to where she is now. Because, boy, has she got a story to tell. There's a little bit based on a person that I know who was in the Birmingham gangland world back in the 60s and 70s. That's all I'll say because I like the kneecaps. But I think a bad woman can be far more frightening than a bad man. Far more frightening.
Agreed. And George doesn't know what he's up against, does he? Tell everybody who George Digbeth is.
George Digbeth, again, is an amalgam of some Crimeland people. I wasn't a gangster, but I did used to give golf lessons to people who maybe were. And he's an amalgam of some characters. And he's a hard man, but he's met his match when he marries Ma. And he knows that there's a fair chance that at some stage, like a Black Widow spider, she will kill him, probably during or after sex. And he doesn't care because she's such an exciting person to be with. And their marriage, I think their wedding scene. Did you like the wedding scene, the wedding party? Yeah. I've had a few comments about that.
Oh.
But
yeah, well, there will be a lot of comments about it.
How filmic is that? I mean, can you imagine that being filmed? It'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Do you want to explain? Don't give too much away, but...
Well, they have their wedding at a place that is up in the mountains above LA, and it used to be a crematorium. And all I will say is when they join hands and they become man and wife, instead of the dais is the one that used to take the coffin down through the floor, and they have a light show, so it makes them look like they're descending into hell as a couple, a married couple. And there's a song I wrote and recorded with Mike called Stairway to Hell, and that's their chosen wedding song. So pretty crazy scene, but extremely funny if I do say so myself.
Yeah, it's Laura said more like a praying mantis, he'd be in pieces. It's a very, very memorable scene.
She's a very sexy praying mantis though, isn't she? For a woman of her age, you know what I mean?
Sexy praying mantis, that goes on a t-shirt.
Sexy psychopath praying mantis, lovely. That's kind.
Kind of feel like she needs that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, I could do a Ma t-shirt, but no, we are going to do some t-shirts as giveaways as well. So
lovely. Anyone wants to get a final question in to be? Oh my word! Just the So we'll give everyone a quick recap. You are giving books away.
I am.
As prizes for the best questions.
There's plenty of good ones there.
There's a lot to work with here. She's not our type, Donna says.
We all know she really is Donna's type. Come on.
Sarah said you can do a business with the t-shirts. I mean, I don't even know where you'd start. There's a lot of mileage for good slogan t-shirts in your books, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And we will be milking that mileage when we go to America. So, but we'll be doing that over in the UK as well. So, yeah. We'll be doing it all.
So, yeah.
We'll be, yeah.
We'll do a competition here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There'll be regular competitions on that new website as well. So we'll start to populate with that. And what the idea is, I want to form a relationship with the people that like the characters, so that we can talk on a regular basis. And if there's areas that they'd fancy it going in the future, you know, I'm always willing to listen and chat.
You're open to ideas, are you?
If I hear something I like, I'm an absolute tart. I'll use it. Not a problem.
That is one way of putting it. Do you want to give us a quick recap of the 3 books that people can go away and buy and read?
Okay, very briefly. Boy meets girl, boy kills girl. Boy buries dead bodies with girl. Dead girl advises him on his career. Boy becomes a star. Girl still follows him. Boy meets other boys, form a band, do really well. Boy goes to LA, makes a big record, becomes a big star. Other people die. Boy meets a psychopath and his mother, who's an even bigger psychopath. She meets another psychopath who she marries. Then they go on a big world tour, meet and kill a lot of European people, and they all live happily ever after.
Not everyone lives happily ever after.
Those that live happily. And John Ardeel floats through it, observing it like a creature from another world.
I've just listening to him today. It's just been so lovely.
Yeah,
so
it's a beautiful album, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. So John Blues Boyd, go and look him up.
Yeah, wonderful.
See who John Ardeel's based
on. And I actually will be doing a giveaway of John's album from the website next month as well, so as a tribute.
Nice. Lovely. Thank you to everyone who's joined us to celebrate Guy's launch.
And thank you for coming in and listening, folks.
Yeah, thank you to you for joining me. Always always fun. Keep me on my toes. Never know what's going to come out your mouth.
I thought I was very well behaved tonight. I thought I was very good tonight.
Yeah, you were. You really were.
Well, yeah, you've got to behave yourself at some stage, haven't you? So tonight was the night. So.
Well, thank you very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed spending Friday night with you.
Me too. Always lovely to see you, Sam.